right? The entire Saki kit revolves around Surge, besides the 1-star. Everyone needs to get 1-star. If you don't have 1-star, I don't know what you're doing, right? You shouldn't even pull Saki if you don't get to 1-star. Unless you're a PvPer, obviously. Talking about PvP. PvP doesn't have resonance. So, in PvP, even if you bring in a Fortitude comp, you will never be in Silent Flow, the tank mode. So, like, Silent Flow skills will never be available in PvP. So, don't bother. Alright. Surge is the big blue slash every 10 seconds. Shadow Sword is the aura you get. And then Flow is the random blade that will fly off of your Shadow Sword to hit people for additional attack. And that's the thing that heals you, I'm pretty sure. Hold on. While in Excited Flow, Sword Shadow will release Flow, right? Deal damage. Inflicts damage equal to 45% of attack on the hit, and that is the one that recovers your HP, equal to 57% of the damage. So, your HP healed is 57% of that damage, and then you can't recover more than 100% of your attack. Basically, every 0.8 seconds, you heal for 100% of your attack, as long as you're constantly attacking, right? This is how you heal with Saki. And then for tank comp, you don't have that Sword Shadow flow thing. The Silent Flow won't release Flow, right? And the Silent Flow, if you're tanking, the heal comes from this. When you're using the skill, you still taunt for like 3 seconds. So either skill or Surge will taunt, apparently, right? Obviously, only the 3-second taunt on a 30-second cooldown doesn't help Saki to take aggro off whales. So you still need the 3-star. And then after 3 seconds, every time you use the skill, this is how you heal as a tank, apparently. Right, 3-star Silent Flow cooldown reduced to 5, very, very important, because you have a taunt in here. And then starting from the 3rd star, everything is about Surge. Surge doing double to damage in attack mode. Surge having half the cooldown for tanks to draw aggro, right? Surge doing Phantasia every time it hits, and then every time Surge hits at 6 stars, you gain 11% damage reduction. Everything revolves around Surge. Right, and then we go to 5-star on the Tank Saki. Right, this is basically the same thing. 5-star Saki. Basically, you just still do the hold attack. Every time Surge happens, you'll trigger Phantasm. Right, but I don't have fucking sword shadow, so always skill first to get Sword Shadow. And then if this happens, right, that's Surge, right? But there is no Phantasia. There's no Phantasia if it doesn't hit anything. So you got to really get in close and make sure the Surge hits. As long as the Surge hits, the 5-star will trigger. So, right? The moment that happens, you get this massive Phantasia. It's way bigger than your dodge Phantasia, but it does share the same cooldown. So you can't be like dodging and manually triggering Phantasia, right? It's a shared cooldown. So as a tank, it's even easier to trigger. So like, just, right? Every time the cooldown is off, you do a Surge. You're spamming Surge anyways. Another way to trigger is to discharge into Saki, right? And again, if you discharge into Saki but you don't hit anybody, this goes the same with the DPS comp, right? If you don't hit anything, you do trigger the Surge, but as long as the Surge doesn't hit, you don't get Phantasia. So you have to get in close and then activate the discharge. So before you want to manually freeze any boss, make sure you discharge into Saki in melee distance. So melee distance, discharge, now you have the slow, the Phantasia. If you have 6-star Saki as a whale in a DPS comp, right, you need to be paying attention and trying to trigger the 6-star. So let's go to attacker resonance. So again, Sword Shadow, right? The attacker Sword Shadow is round and not like pentagon, hexagon, whatever the fuck it is. And then every 10 seconds you want to do the hold attack Surge, or every 10 seconds you want to use a Saki discharge to maintain this attack buff. See this attack buff on the 6 stars? Nice localization, by the way. So you want to keep this buff up. Just pay attention to this. Every time this goes down, or is about to go down, you want to do another one. And again, surge has to hit, right? And this is the problem, right? You got to make sure you hit the surge, because the 10-second cooldown, if you miss it, you're fucked. So if I'm this far away, surge doesn't hit, right? But the discharge hits, I still don't get the buff. And now I do this, I won't do the surge anymore because there's a 10-second cooldown on the surge. So you lose that 11% damage for the 10 seconds that your surge didn't hit. So you got to make sure your surge hits to keep your damage up if you're playing DPS Saki. So make sure every time you discharge, make sure you're melee distance to guarantee the surge hit. What do you do for a tank comp? Let's see. These will trigger tank. Your last weapon can just be even more cope. Honestly. Like, for a tank, you trigger the fucking resonance. You have somebody that taunts. This last slot don't fucking matter. Right, you can run the healer on a the third slot. It doesn't matter what you run on the third slot. Right? Of course Frigg is better. But obviously going Frigg here is way better. Right? This is the perfect tank comp right now. This is the meta tank comp. And you use Frigg Hyper Body. Saki trait is also pretty good. Right? More tanking. And this helps the team. So this, if you're good at the game and want to help the team. This, if you have skill issues and has Frigg. Alright, so basically right here, this is the hold attack for Saki. Right, and then this will trigger the surge and the taunt. But if you don't have your skill active, you don't have the aura or the flow active, whatever it's called, you don't trigger the extra slash. You always got to use the skill before a fight, or just, you got to use the skill once. Right, now you have this is called flow, right? Okay, it's called Shadow Sword. And the attack it does is called flow. So after you use the skill, you gain this thing called a sword shadow. And then now every time you do a hold attack, you will trigger that slash. Right, there's a 5-second cooldown after you get the 3-star, so it doesn't happen. Now it happens again. No sword shadow, doesn't trigger the surge. Press the skill once, gain sword shadow. Now you can trigger surge, which is this slash. On a 5-second cooldown, it doesn't happen again. Now it happens. Now it doesn't happen. So if, as a Fortitude Resonance player, right, as a tank, and you're trying to play a tank, all you do is just spam this shit on every occasion, every 5 seconds. While obviously dodging and surviving and shit. Just do that on every occasion, and then do other things. I don't even know what else you're gonna do. All you're there for is holding aggro, and when you see the shield pop up, right, discharge Meryl, blah blah blah, right? And if you have Tsubasa, just stacks, right, and just cope. This is basically just tanking 101. Don't die, just dodge, spam this, and respond to the situation. That's it. Alright, so let's go try and verify if tanking works with whales. Alright, we got some whales in here. Do we just go test raids? I feel like I'm gonna die. And yeah, we have skill issues. So, definitely Frigg trait. Relics don't really matter for tanking, but do what you feel like doing, right? Obviously, doing Space-Time Rift 3-star to support your team, to do more damage, maybe, right? Alternate Destiny to prevent yourself from dying, right? Cont, also good. Grapple. I don't know about the grapple, but yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't think you need more defense, honestly. Alright, let's see our stats. Not a lot of resistance. Not a lot. That's fine. But you do have a lot of HP. And yeah, 3-star Saki. Everything else is maxed. So, just, this is not realistic for a free-to-play tank. Right? If you're going for 3-star Saki. You normally would have just skipped Frigg. So I'm just compensating by not putting on Matrices. And then the Matrices I'm going to bring right now. 2 King, 2 Shiro on this. 2 Shiro, 2 Huma on this. The Matrices honestly don't matter. As long as you can shield break. But yeah, I'm trying to just prove a point that you don't need gear, you don't need damage, you don't need whatever. You can just taunt and draw aggro as the tank. So 3-star Saki is kind of useful. And I can try out the healing too. Right, now I should have aggro. Never mind, boss dead. Didn't even see the bots attack, boss is dead. Alright, Tyron is the one. Alright. Where's my aggro? Where's my aggro? Boss, move. Alright, I have aggro now. Kind of. And he's trying to run away. Cucked by the Omnium shield. I got aggro for like a split second and the boss triggered mechanics. Boss? Can you wake up? Wake up, please? Bruh. Right, I have the aggro. I'm just saying. I have the aggro. Alright, I proved my point. No longer relevant content, by the way. Join op 8. Saki broken. Maybe we try raids? But like, just by myself, there's no way I can shatter Frigg. Right, but we can test it. Let's just do this one. This one's easily resettable. Kind of. And it's not annoying. Let's just do Frigg. Alright, I should have the aggro now. I am getting attacked. Right. Oh shit, we actually broke the goddamn shield. Broken. Alright, keep the taunt up. Right? The aggro is like basically always on me. You don't even need to switch anything. Just make sure you go to Frigg. Plop the zone back down. Continue taunting. Right? Don't even need to switch to Meryl. Honestly, you just stay on Saki. It really don't matter. And like, I don't even take damage. What? And then you basically plop this down to boost damage for the whales, right? And if you time the animation right, you can block damage, which isn't really necessary, right? This is like brain dead tanking. You hold left click and release it. You gotta release the left click. There's blocks and everything. Like, it's just fucking broken. Shit is broken. You don't even need Mark. Like, you don't... Meryl is just here to trigger resonance. You don't need Meryl. You don't need anything. You don't need the shatter on Meryl either. You don't need another ice. You should get another ice to trigger frost resonance, but you need another fortitude to trigger tank resonance. Like, it's pretty brain dead. If you have 5 stars, it's even easier. You just trigger Phantasm, Phantasia, slow the boss down. Alright, this is like... Whales have a good time because they're not getting focused anymore and can do free DPS. You can hold aggro as long as you have the taunt on Saki. Every 5 seconds, you can hold aggro. So now with Saki, and if you're a tank, then you won't have aggro issues anymore. 800% is not enough. 800% not enough. You just have to have the manual taunt. The guaranteed taunt on the surge. Alright, that's that.